Welcome to Texas 10. I'm Melissa.
And I'm Guinness Steve.
I like that. Well, we are here today for another edition of Texas 10, specifically Texas Troubadours, which is our music series. And today I'm super excited because we have Pat Byrne. And you know, there's a saying where some of us are native Texans. There's others who got here, could have been, but his parents robbed him. Sorry. And then there's those that got here as fast as they could. And Pat, we saw you in Austin, Texas at the Saxon Pub and looked at each other and said, this guy's the real deal. So welcome, and tell us a little bit about where you're from.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's a real honor to be here with you. And yeah, I got here in 2017 from Ireland, as you can probably guess.
As you can hear, I could just sit here and we could just say, just talk. When you hear an Irishman, I don't know, it just does something.
Well, they are a nation of storytellers. That is something that they are known for. Yeah. And so I anticipate that you sort of got that while you were growing up. Is that a real thing? Are they all storytellers, or?
It is a real thing. Irish people have a lot of character, and we're kind of steeped in a lot of that great culture growing up. We're surrounded by the songs. Everyone has a song to sing, whether they can sing or not. And there's great poetry, and every pub you're in has wonderful organic music that just happens. It's a great way to grow up. I feel very lucky that I was born in Ireland.
So I want to go there. So now, many of you have heard about a little show in America called The Voice. Well, there is a voice in Ireland, and you were on it, right?
That's right. Yeah, the first series of it.
And
really? You were the first season?
Yes.
Oh, wow. First season and first winner, right? You're right. A winner, chicken dinner. Yeah. So that's very exciting. So tell us a little bit about that experience.
Yeah, I was in college at the time, which wasn't going very well, and while being in, I'm not academically minded. I just never have been. But on the side, I was making my money playing gigs in local pubs and traveling around Ireland playing at people's weddings, and I'd been doing that since I was 15 years old. So you were the
wedding singer?
I was a wedding singer, pretty much. Yeah, that was my job, and so college wasn't going great. I auditioned for The Voice. It was a new show, and ended up winning it, which I wasn't expecting. It was a great year and a great opportunity for me, and then I dropped out of college, and that was kind of the start of my...
All right, let's back up a little bit. What are the parents thinking about?
I was just going to ask that question.
I'm not academic, but making your life living as a singer-songwriter or a singer or whatever, that's a little bit riskier than the normal career path.
I was blessed with my parents because they're huge fans and they love music, and they all, like, from a very young age, nurtured it in me and surrounded me with instruments and drove me to every gig, and they always wanted me to be a musician. So
really?
Yeah,
I love that.
They definitely weren't happy when I was failing exams in college. And,
well, you were paying for that, possibly.
Yeah, and partying too much, and they were not happy. So actually, it was my dad who recommended going for The Voice. He came in one morning, he was like, look, college is not going very well for you. Here's this show that's coming. Maybe you should give it a try. You get more gigs, you get more money. And I kind of looked at it like that. I was like, yeah, okay, I'm playing the same gigs every weekend. If I do get some exposure on telly, I might get some extra gigs and maybe charge a bit more. That's really all I was thinking. And then the rounds go by, and it's about a year, from when you audition to when, like, the final happens. It's almost a year.
How long is it before you're actually on TV from the start? Because they're filming.
Yeah, I think we started filming like in August, and then the first episode was in January. And then that live show goes up until the summer. So yeah, and I was living up in UCD in Dublin with the college.
Okay, so what's UCD?
It's one of the universities in Dublin, and the show was in the theatre there in the university, and so we lived in dorm rooms next to the theatre. It was really fun. I was 20 years old, and
wow, what time of your life?
Time of my life, and you're singing to 500,000. Ireland's a small country, so the viewership is not like what you'd be getting here in the States, but it was still the #1 show that year in Ireland, and you were performing as a 20-year-old, getting on stage every Sunday to 500,000 people. Like, it was pretty cool.
So did it help your notoriety at the pubs? Could you walk in and everyone's like, Pat?
It helped my notoriety as a drinker in the pub. I don't know that it helped my music, because Well, I won it, and so I was tied to this contract that however many people entered the show, everyone has to sign this contract. No one thinks they're going to win, so you're just signing whatever. But I was the one that won, and I had these 360 kind of bad contracts. So I actually wasn't allowed to perform on my own back. So I stopped. It was a rough time. Afterwards, you know, I'm not a fan of those shows, honestly. I don't watch them, and while I had a great time on it, I don't love what it did to my name. Like I didn't feel like much of an artist after winning that show. And then so I wasn't able to play my gigs, and I was in quite a restrictive situation for a few years until they released me from the contract. And then I went back doing the weddings, where I was able to charge more because I was the voice. Right. And did that for several years, and kind of my soul just evaporated. I fell out of love with music. I wasn't writing songs, was not a songwriter at all. And just decided that's what I needed to do. I wanted to have my own voice and be the songwriter that, you know, I wanted to be, and felt like I had to leave Ireland to do that because I couldn't get away from this voice.
Really? It's that pervasive that it just sort of follows you around?
I would say not anymore. I think if I went back now, people would have completely forgotten. This was in 2012. But definitely at the time, you know, I was on the talk shows in Ireland, and I was on the front page after I won the show. Like it was a mini celebrity status, and it definitely was all people saw me as was the voice. Especially it's a small country, you know.
Right. Well, so maybe I'm projecting the American shows, but like Kelly Clarkson, I believe, was the first winner of American Idol. Came before The Voice here, so that was the first huge thing here, and Kelly Clarkson was a winner. And it seems like there's all this pressure that you're expecting them to be a huge pop star at that point, or at least a huge country star, one of those two things.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't know that you would expect that out of the Irish voice winner, but I mean, so like after you won, what are you thinking, okay, this is going to get me where? Like,
I don't know that I was such a...
You're 20.
I was such an immature... Because I didn't expect to win, first of all. So I remember the moment I won quite clearly. I was overwhelmed. Like, it was one of the happiest. Just that, to get that recognition was so nice. But I would say within an hour afterwards, I was like, what am I going to do? Like, there's this expectation you put on yourself that, where do I go from here? I can't top this. I didn't see myself topping that moment. I was like, it's going to be a slow decline into, oblivion. Like, no one's going to know who I am
let's fix that. Let's get away from The Voice. And let's talk about...
So before we get a little bit today, you talked about your parents supporting you and surrounding you with instruments. So what was your early musical education like?
I had lots of it. I joined an orchestra as soon as I could. I was 6 or 7. Like, we had my primary school, or you would call it elementary school. We there was an orchestra, which was an amazing thing to have in our small town. Michael Perkins was the music teacher, and we actually had an orchestra, which looking back now is kind of crazy for a town that size. But I played like the clarinet and the violin and the piano. I was not good at any of them, but at home my parents would notice that, like, they had a keyboard and a little half-size guitar, and I would mess around and teach myself things, and I could play by ear. But when I went and got the lessons, it just wasn't. I didn't like that. And
I'm getting the sense that you're I'm gonna not only go my own road, but I'm gonna build my own road sort of person.
Yeah, well, that sounds kind of corny maybe to say about myself, but I definitely think so. I didn't enjoy music theory or lessons even. I just liked teaching myself. But a few years of that, I joined the local marching band. I was maybe 8 or 9. And that's when I really fell in love.
That's a thing in Ireland. Marching bands are a thing there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was more of a Cayley. It wouldn't be the whole thing you have here, which is amazing. Like, we played a lot of Irish tunes on tin whistles and flutes and accordions, and there was a snare drum. And I joined the drum corps, and I fell in love with drums because there was a lot of freedom of expression on drums. And my dad bought me you'd love Ireland.
I love music, so.
Yeah, music in Ireland is very special, and it's everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, the drums really is when I fell in love with music, because I got to just do whatever I wanted and teach. And my dad got me a drum kit, and I joined a local rock band, and we were called Incisor, and we were 10 or 11. But the songwriter in the band was great. He was right. It was like we were Nirvana, and so I just really loved it. And then my dad got tired of driving drums around and bought me a guitar for Christmas when I was 15, and I just started teaching myself and started playing in the pubs immediately. Not writing songs. I didn't think I was able to do that. I loved songwriters. My heroes were Bob Dylan and Tom Waits and Randy Newman and Springsteen and all these guys. Like, that's what I loved. And I loved covering their songs, but I wasn't doing it myself.
Well, on The Voice, did you audition with The River? What did you audition?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved that
I
song.
read that. Yeah, that's a great song. Well, your songs, honestly, your stories kind of remind me of Springsteen. I mean, they have that storytelling ability, and you feel like you just can feel it, taste it. Your song, Candle.
Blown Out Candles?
Yes. I listen to that and I feel like I'm there. And yes, I can smell the smoke of the candles.
Thank you. Well, I wrote that with one of my good friends, Ben Balmer, who's an amazing songwriter as well. So I got to give him some credit for that one too.
Well, it's just, they're very sensory rich. You know?
Thank you. That's what I like about songs, that they can transport you somewhere and make you feel like you're in a place. And yeah, my favorite songwriters do that. Like John Prine does that really well.
Yeah.
You're speaking my language.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about the process of songwriting for you. Is it a melody? Is it your experiences? Or how do you go about songwriting? And how did you move into songwriting from covering?
Yeah, well, like I said, songwriting's always what I wanted to do. I just didn't necessarily have the self-belief, and I think...
You come from, Irish poets, so there you go. It's had to be in you, right?
Well, I hoped so. There was maybe a deep down belief that I could do it, but like this voice thing was hanging over me. I was like, if I go to a new place where no one knows me, I can just do whatever I want. And I moved to Austin. I kind of just accidentally happened upon Austin. I didn't know about it as a music town. There was a cheap flight to Austin. I was in San Francisco. I was like, let's check this place out. And I spent a week here and fell in love and met some great musicians. And I was like, this is where I want to live. And I moved over in 2017. And I had a great manager and one of my best friends, Ted Lundgren, and his wife, Susan. They live in Houston, and they had this lake house outside of Austin up in the hill country. And they let me stay there for several months. And I wrote the first songs I ever had written, which was a lot of stuff that had been stewing in the back of my mind as a just bedroom guitar player. You come up with little ideas, and I was like, no, I'm going to turn these into songs.
What was your first song that you wrote?
It's called Smiling Eyes, which I think it's fine. I'm okay with it. Maybe because I was 28 when I wrote it. Like, I didn't write my first song when I was 14, so I wrote my first song as an adult, and I had lived a bit and had these ideas and had all these songwriting heroes, so I edited myself a lot. And it's a song I would still happily sing,
It stewed for a while.
It stewed for a while. It's not like I sat down at 28 and wrote it all. It had been maybe building subconsciously.
Well, that was nice that you had a little bit of time to segregate and sort of, okay, I'm reinventing myself, really. I mean...
Yeah, that's how it felt. It was really amazing. No, I moved over totally by myself, and I'd been playing music all my life, so I was familiar with the mechanics of music. And not only playing music, but singing songs that I love, like really studying Springsteen and Dylan and these, like knowing what a good song is. So I felt like I was in a good position to try. And, I'd given myself a year. I had a 1-year visa. I was like, if I'm able to write some songs and maybe get some attention, I'll keep doing it. If not, I can always do weddings for the rest of my life. I made some money playing weddings. And
that's true. And you can get enjoyment out of doing it, and I guess you could always do weddings and then, write in your spare time or whatever and see what happens. But that seems like a sort of a do or die thing. Did you feel internal pressure? You put this year on you say, okay, I got to do this. I mean,
yeah, it was terrifying because I had a degree of security with the weddings. I'd done it since a young age, and I had an agent who had my diary filled up, and I was like, yeah, there's money coming in, I'll be okay. Coming here, there was no security or certainty at all, and it was definitely, and to go to a new country is always scary.
Yeah.
But the minute I got to Austin, I just felt the most peace I'd ever felt, and the minute I started writing songs, I was like, I'd never had that feeling before, creating something from nothing that will exist, that 5 minutes, it's like time that you're creating, and it's always going to be there, and I can draw from it whenever. So it was the best feeling I've ever had finishing song. And to this day, whenever I finish a song, it's like I can survive off that for several months.
That's amazing.
That is. I mean, I guess, Picasso stands back and he looks at, okay, that's a piece of art.
There
and
now.
it's there. And so...
I'm a little jealous. I mean, like I make up songs with my kids whenever I'm trying to get them to walk down the hall or something. It's not quite the same.
Well, I was going to say, I don't feel like that when I turn in a brief. I don't, but whatever. Okay, so you're in Austin, and that is sort of by happenstance.
That's an amazing
story all by itself, because, I mean, there are music towns in the United States, and Austin is.
So you really didn't know? You really just?
I feel so ignorant. I didn't know who Townes Van Zandt was. I didn't know who Guy Clark was. I knew who Willie Nelson was, but I hadn't gone deep into his catalog. Didn't know Austin was I thought Texas was everyone's going to have a cowboy hat, and I just thought it was a real cowboy nation. I knew what the Alamo was, but. And then I was in Austin, and everyone's like, this is the live music capital of the world. I'm like, oh, cool. And spent a week, and I was like, no shit, this is the coolest place I'd never experienced so much original music that I loved by these incredible musicians everywhere, with crowds of people sitting and listening. And of course, I was introduced to like James McMurtry and the songs of Guy Clark. And now almost all my favorite stuff is Texas music. Yeah. It was a real education, and it influenced what I was writing, and it's the best thing I've ever done.
We love to go to Austin, and we love to stay in the South Congress area, and I love to go down to the Continental and on Sunday afternoon with the regulars who are just dancing, and people just love music, and we love, like I said, Saxon Pub, where we saw you. Love that place, and it's just.
And there's 20 more. That's the thing.
That's the thing.
Yes. And it's not, like you go to Nashville. Nashville's fun, but Broadway is just somewhat touristy. Yes, there's great music going on, but it's not like Austin in my mind.
It's hard to put your finger on the difference, because I love Nashville is amazing, and the best in the world are in Nashville.
Right.
But there's something about Austin that you can just get your hands around. Like, it feels less intimidating. It feels more like a community and a small.
Well, I always go back to the Richard Linklater movies, and it's sort of, you can make it being a different person. Like, I think Nashville is more of a corporate town. That they're to get there, the big labels and whatnot are sort of driving the boat. And then Austin, I think you can be maybe a little bit more authentic. I don't know.
I think so. I think that authenticity is still in Nashville. Like, there's so much of it there. But what is gonna draw up all the attention is the commercial stuff that's happening, and there's a lot of that too, which is not in Austin, which kind of just leaves only the authentic stuff, which has its pluses and minuses. Like, there's less opportunity here, but as a place to exist and soak up art.
Okay, so I'm going to ask this question. It's a little bit different. You sort of explained how you got started doing the songwriting thing, and I can see that. Like, okay, I'm going to go write a book, or I'm going to paint a painting, and I've got this time period, I'm going to try it. And then you say, okay, I think I can do this. But now you're a singer-songwriter. You're not just a songwriter. And you've got to make a living, and you want to be able to express and do all of those things. So what is the day-to-day life of a singer-songwriter like?
Yeah, this is where it gets hard. This is why not many people choose this career, because it's great to being able to write songs and get that fulfillment, but now try turn that into a living, and it's very difficult. Like I said, I'd been gigging all my life, so I knew what it was to book a gig and go do it and get paid. But trying to do that with your own music is just a totally different ball game. And in a way, I was lucky that I had the voice thing. I wasn't using that as a way to get gigs, but some people just found it out. Like you would say, "Hey,
you have a wiki page."
Yeah, so that's
You're
it.
famous.
So a lot of it definitely comes with maybe some kind of credibility. I don't know, or maybe not, or maybe the opposite. But there was a buzz a little bit, because I moved to town, and I was this guy from Ireland, and there was a local journalist. His name was Peter Blackstock, who turned a lot of people on to me. He was a fan, and I owe a lot to him, because he would write me up, and he named me Artist of the Month in the Chronicle, and I just started getting gigs, and the ball just started rolling, and I think it helped me a lot that I was Irish. Like, this accent, there's a kind of an exotic thing that people, oh, who's this Irish guy? I want to go. And I started playing Irish music in the Saxon pub, and then I was kind of lucky that the pandemic happened, because the ball was starting to roll for me, and maybe 2018, 2019, I was getting these gigs and was building a crowd, and then everything shut down. And I was like, I'm going to have to move back to Ireland because there's no way I can make money. But these live streams started happening, and then all of a sudden I was playing to hundreds of people online every Wednesday. Somehow it just worked, and I was making more money than I ever made. And then when the pandemic,
from your living room,
from my living room, and then I would do every Wednesday, and then the Mucky Duck in Houston were like, "Do you want to do that on our stage?" So I would go to the Mucky Duck every Wednesday, and
another great venue, by the way.
Great venue. I play there once a month. They're like family, Rusty and Teresa. I love them, but they invested in all these cameras and lights, and they live streamed from their stage. No one in the room, but I would travel down there every Wednesday, and I had an audience all of a sudden, and then when things opened up, I emerged with this audience, and I would book gigs, and people would come, and I started doing my Monday nights at the Saxon Pub, and that's been great. I play with my band there, and we have a good crowd on Mondays, and then I started doing little tours around the country, which I hadn't done.
Okay, so now how do you balance though? Because it's not the pandemic anymore, so you got to get to places, you got to do the shows. I know you do house shows, but I'm assuming that you're not done songwriting, so you got to build that in. So how does that all work?
Yeah, that's the hard part now, because I have an agent now who's wonderful, and she keeps me really busy, and I'll head out for 3 months, I'll go up the East Coast, and I love doing that and meeting people and playing music, and then I'll come back to Austin for a couple of weeks, and then I'll go up the Midwest, and life looks like that now, which unfortunately doesn't leave much time for writing, because I'm not good at writing on the fly. If I have 2 hours in my hotel room, I'm not going to write a song. I need to be lazy at home and read a book and watch a movie and kind of let things gestate. And I've always needed to carve out a lot of time, because I'm quite slow, and I like to be as meticulous as I can. Like, lyrics mean a lot to me, and I don't want to have ever a line in a song that I'm not looking forward to saying when I'm singing it. It all needs to feel like it's carrying some weight, So I'm not flippant about it. So that's been hard, trying to balance the live thing with the creative and writing part. Yeah. So I've written maybe 3 songs this year, which is not good enough if you're calling.
That's not an album. That's
no, it's not. And I'm calling myself a songwriter, so I do need to be more careful with I take on a lot of work, and I keep really busy.
I can't imagine the decision making that goes into, okay, I got to turn down this. And there's a momentum that comes from building your audience, and you like to see your followers grow and all that, because that's stability. But then to say, no, I'm going to step back and, work on this other aspect, that's got to be a hard.
So do you collaborate very often? Do you sit in songwriter circles, or are you more just I like to sit and it's my music and my songs, or...
Yeah, not that it's what I like more, but what happens is I write by myself. I've had like maybe 3 or 4 co-writes, like with Jamie Harris. We wrote a lovely song together, which I'm hoping we're going to do again soon. Jamie's from Waco. Ben Jones, who's a great English musician, songwriter who lives in Austin too. We've written a couple of songs together, and Ben Bammer, he and I wrote Blown Out Candles together. So there's maybe 4 or 5 co-writes, and then the rest is all me. But I would like to get more into that, because I think it would speed things up a bit, like bouncing ideas off people. I'm sure it could only help and make the songs more interesting.
Well, we haven't interviewed that many people yet, but it's fascinating to me to hear people's different approaches to songwriting. There are some that are always collaborating. Randy Palmer, he loves to sit in songwriter circles, and then we're talking to Sophia and Katie, and they approach it very differently. And so I think that's fascinating to me.
I think it scares me too much to offer any ownership to someone else, because like I said, I'm quite, if I don't like it, and I would have a hard time, I think, telling people, no, I don't like it. So I just try and avoid being in the situation where I have to say, no, I don't like this.
Having a partner is having a partner, and that, you get the good with it, but then you also get conflict might be too big of a word, but a little tension about, I'm not really on board with that idea.
Yeah, and then at that point, you've given this idea that you were a fan of, and it's become something you're not that much of a fan of. And I'm always fearful that I will just lose the idea, and it's like, okay.
Yeah. Well, your songs seem very personal.
Yeah.
And so, they're coming from your soul. I mean, for lack of a better term. And so I would think that would be kind of hard too, if you're, collaborating. And some people like to do that because it's more of it's the art and I want to produce the music and I want to create the music. And other people, I think it's more of a personal. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely. And I think there's room for both. Like I have a lot of songs that are deeply personal and it would just feel weird for me to say, hey, do you have a line for, like, it just, no, if I take my time, I can do all the lines, you know, for those kind of songs. But there's also songs that are just fun and like, you know, that I would love to sing and have as part of a show that are not quite so personal, that would be great to have someone come in and collab. I think you just got to pick and choose your battles.
And that's what I loved the performance we saw, and I'm looking forward to tonight because it did have, it changes. I mean, there'll be a real lighthearted, and it almost sounds like you have a little bit of a jig in it, and then there'll be a very personal song. And the night we saw you was with the guy from UT, the psychologist.
Oh, you were at that show, Aaron Rockley. Okay.
Right. Yes.
So it was really interesting. So it was not a typical concert either. I mean, y'all talked a lot and talked about the process, about the songs.
Yeah.
And that
Under
was
the
really
Rock.
Great.
It's a series.
Under the Rock.
That's
so
what it
shout
was.
out to that, Under the Rock.
Yes. Thanks for helping us remember.
Yes.
Yeah, that's something he started up maybe just this year, and it's a cool idea.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, so I thought you came on we do Monday nights.
No.
And we do like 6 to 7:30, but that was a Saturday night or something.
And as a matter of fact, we were coming back from San Antonio, and we were out at the Dominion, I think, or no, what's it called? The shopping place.
The Domain.
The Domain, and we had some time to kill, and we weren't ready to come home. And so Steve said, "Let's see at Saxon Pub." He said, "Oh, it's this guy. This sounds really interesting."
Well, it was the Irish thing. It was. That's what.
There you
That's
go.
what
Yeah,
it was. You're right. Yeah.
That's
I'm a Van
little
Morrison
different.
fan, so I was like, "Yeah, let's go." So it was really great.
I'll do some Van Morrison for you tonight.
Would you?
Yes.
Oh, I'll be so happy. Okay, so the other thing that is a very interesting fact about you. Now, we've been to all 254 counties of Texas, and you've been in the United States since 2017.
Yeah.
So not that long. And you've been to every state?
Yes.
Alaska and Hawaii?
Yeah, well, I was in Hawaii last year for a wedding, and Alaska was the last one. Like 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was up there.
Were you the wedding singer or a participant?
I was actually just there. It was my friends getting married, and I played a couple of gigs there, but we were just there hanging out. It was gorgeous.
Well, I have not been yet.
And so was Alaska. They were two of my favorites. I mean,
I haven't been to either state, but they do get the rep for just natural beauty.
absolutely gorgeous.
So you like to drive, I take it? You don't fly, or you?
Well,
combo.
with merch and with, because I like to book shows in big clusters and route, like my agent's great and we'll route a whole thing. So I'll play in South Carolina, North Carolina, into New York and Massachusetts. And so it's just, why fly to all those places? And I'm carrying a carload of merch because the only real way to make money these days is to sell shirts and hats and CDs. So flying with all that stuff just wouldn't work out for me. I'm not a big enough operation, and they're all solo shows. So I drive around and...
So who sells your merch at the show?
I do it all,
Really?
Wow.
That's hard work, isn't it?
It's the Troubadour lifestyle. Yeah. I love it. I wouldn't do anything else. I absolutely love it. And when it's good and people are coming out to the shows, I just can't imagine doing anything else. Yeah. And I come from the wedding world where everything now is so... I appreciate any time I get to sing my own songs to people who want to listen. Like, compared to just singing Brown Eyed Girl to 300 people 4 times a week, that's not...
Right.
There's no soul involved. You go in autopilot, and now I'm so grateful for every gig. So,
well, you might have. Well, no, I'm not going to say that. We did see Van in Chicago.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He was not having it, is what I'm going to say.
He had a problem with his sound guy that night, and he was
not
sort of a
interested.
cranky
really.
guy.
Yeah, he was kind of cranky.
That's what I hear.
And I mean, I love him.
Me too.
And so you'll probably sing a more soulful version of Brown Eyed Girl for me than he did that night.
You want to hear Brown Eyed Girl?
Ben.
I'll do a different.
That'd be great. I'm just going to say I was a little sad.
Yeah, I like to separate, because I saw Bob Dylan when I was 16 and I was so excited, and it was not the show I wanted to see. And I wasn't mature enough to just in my head be like, it's Bob Dylan though. Let him do.
Right.
I don't care. Thank you for writing these songs, and I don't need anything else from you. Right. And I'd probably be the same with Van Morrison, but I wouldn't go in expecting to be entertained in that way.
Well, and the thing with Van was his voice was great. Yeah. It was still
cool.
Van's voice.
What a singer.
Yeah, but his showmanship was But let's get
back to Pat.
Let's get back to Pat. We're going to talk about Pat, right? Exactly. Okay, so now you're living this life, right? It's working for you to a certain degree.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a great life, but how do you get to where you're secure that I'm being your dad for you?
Yeah.
Right? Now, okay. So how do
And his dad says, "Thank you, Steve."
Right. Exactly. How do you get, because we love your stuff. You've got ardent fans. Getting a Taylor Swift size following of those fans probably not going to happen.
Yeah,
right?
that's
So how do you turn this into your long term? This is the life
I mean, I try and ignore that question because I don't know, and it is scary. You know?
Sorry.
You wanted to do that.
My dad is like wishes he did what I did, and he was not musical, doesn't play anything, but I can tell he's just so happy with the life. Like,
I love that.
It's been an enormous relief. My mother passed away a couple of years ago, but same with her. You know, she loved that I was doing, and if they could, they would be at every show. When I was in Ireland, they would come to everything. So that really helps lift the weight off my shoulders. I think if I had these parents who were like, "Why aren't you doing this and that, and why don't you own a house?" That would really weigh heavy on me.
Did you see what John's doing? He's a doctor.
Right. Which I never had that from them, and they were always very proud of it. So I mean that helps. But yeah, no, it's a good question. I have noticed every year things get a bit better, and I just hope that keeps happening.
Yeah.
Like for the first few years, I was really on the breadline and. You know, making financial decisions that weren't easy. And now, you know, I'm making as much money as I could hope to make doing what I'm doing. I'm definitely not making money, but I'm paying rent, you know, I'm surviving. I'm not like super stressed. And if I can just keep, you know, I love my band. My dream would be to have my band with me more often. I can't afford to do that right now. It's sustainable as a solo songwriter, but if I have a very grassroots approach. I'm not looking for a quick fix. I don't intend to be a Taylor Swift. I just would like to have some kind of grassroots, good following throughout the country that will just keep me on the road playing to people, you know.
Well, let's build that a little bit. So is it all at Pat Byrne or Pat Byrne Music? Like if people want to follow you, go to your website, be an Instagram follower. How do they do all that?
Yeah, well, Pat Byrne should get you there, BYRNE on all the things, and my website is patbyrne-music.com.
Okay. So back to the songs. They are personal. And they speak about events in your life sometimes, either directly or tangentially. People around you that are close around you that know what the references are without you having to explain it. How do they take that? Do you have to explain to them, well, you know, this is like you see people that write a novel and you know, they put a character in there and people get upset about being in it. So do you have
I don't think I have any vengeful songs.
No, you do not.
I don't think I try to speak it, or if it's never a specific person, you know. I had a lot of love songs, honestly, obviously, and so that's nice. And the people who they're written about know because I'm very close.
Right.
But that's the
so
only
what's
time.
the current situation there? What's the soul situation?
He's getting personal.
I'm a single man now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a single daughter.
Okay. Well.
She's gonna kill you. She's gonna absolutely kill you.
Well, I didn't name her, so there you go.
Well,
Could be anyone.
That's right.
No, I've been single for a little bit now, but most of the songs were all about this one person. It's weird now to sing those songs, but I wouldn't say I have all these songs where I mention specific characters that people are like, oh, you wrote, except for this one person, and she loved it. So I mean,
of course,
if anything, it helped enhance the relationship. But we'll see. I mean, I really want to put out an album next year. I have lots of ideas and lots of songs in the works.
So do you have a block of time set out yet?
November's looking okay. Like it's a lot of Texas shows, so I'll just be in the state and staying in my own house, and I'm hoping to emerge out of November with some fully formed things. But you know, next year's already getting super busy, and
that's a good thing, right?
It's a good thing on one hand, but I mean, it's great to make fans and go out there and play to people. But really, what I need to be doing is cultivating a discography.
So, do you have a particular producer, or it's interesting. It seems like music production is so different now. We interviewed Merrill Brigante, and he has a production studio, and he was talking about how it's changed because the digitally, and he'll have someone that's in Nashville that will record and then send it, and people aren't all in the same room.
Yeah.
But is there a studio that you love, or is there just?
It's all
Austin,
budget dependent, you know. The first record I did with one of my favorite musicians, Rich Brotherton, in Austin. I was just fortunate to meet him. We did all the first songs I wrote. It's an album called Rituals, and we did that together in his studio, just the two of us. And then the pandemic happened, and I did a Kickstarter, and I was able to raise like a bunch of money, and worked in a studio called the Sound Emporium in Nashville, which was just it's a state of the art, beautiful,
that's a big time,
yeah. Which I wouldn't be able to afford to do now if I just decided to do something. But I worked with a great producer called Billy Harvey, and had all the best musicians because it was in the middle of the pandemic. No one was on the road, so I had like Emmy Lou Harris's band, I had John Prine's bass player, I had like Sheryl Crow's drummer. It was just to sit there, and I'd never had this happen. Like, we put on our headphones and we all together played all the songs live, and I was in tears. Like, you can hear me crying in one particular song that was called Precious Cargo. I'm like crying because it was so beautiful, but you can't afford to do it that way all the time. So I self-produced something just that Christmas, and it's just called Live from Cedar Creek, where I brought my band into Cedar Creek Studios in Austin, and we just played the songs, and it's lovely, but it's not like this well-produced thing that I got to do in Nashville, which I would love to do for the next one. But to answer your question, there isn't a producer. It's kind of different every time, and depends on the songs and how much money you're able to throw at it.
Okay, well, would you sing one of your songs for us?
Yeah. Was there one you wanted to hear?
We'll leave it to you.
You pick.
You pick.
Okay.
So we'll take a break. We'll be right back, and Pat's going to get set up.
So we've talked a lot about Pat Byrne's music, and I think you ought to hear a song. So Pat, you going to play for me with that great little voice?
I will.
Okay. What are we going to hear?
Well, this song kind of details a lot of what we discussed, and it's called Feels Like Living, and it's kind of about, moving over and what it was like to be a songwriter.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. Can't wait.
Let's try that again. I landed on the runway in Chicago, bought a coffee, then I traded it for a beer, and the connecting flight to Austin felt like nothing. I'm gonna give this place the best part of a year. And the woman at the motel is hard of hearing. She doesn't understand the way I speak. So I straighten out my accent and give her every last cent. Said I need a room to see me through the week. And I'm hungry, but the work's not coming easy. I'm tired except for when I'm not awake. And I put on my shirt and tie, tell myself another lie. No, you're not gonna miss another lucky break. And I wake up early in the morning and fill the day with useful things to do. But the only time it ever feels like living is when I'm down beneath the surface with you. When I'm running from the ruckus, hiding from the circus, down beneath the surface with you. My show last night was wrapped up by 11. There was 11 people breathing in that air. 2 who knew my name, 2 just watched the game, 7 drowning sorrow with despair. These Sunday nights, they're breaking me so slowly, chasing down that runaway thrill. Sometimes trying to play the game feels like trying to find a vein. I'm sick and tired of pushing water up this hill. But still I'll wake up early every morning, and I'll fill the day with useful things to do. But the only time it ever feels like living is when I'm down beneath the surface with you. When I'm running from the ruckus, hiding from the circus, down beneath the surface with you. When I'm running from the ruckus, I'm hiding from the circus, when I'm down beneath the surface with you.
Well, that's awesome.
That just makes me so happy.
You have to,
Yes.
you have to
I'm
give the claps.
emoting.
Yes,
I'm
right.
emoting.
It struck me
So
during that
beautiful.
that was that's your piano man. That is sort of the
Less jovial sounding.
a little bit, but you know, he went through a lot of pain and was searching to be a songwriter. And didn't
Yeah.
know if he was going to get there.
I never heard that comparison, but that's very accurate.
Yeah. So and I love that. Our first big concert together
Was Billy Joel.
was Billy Joel at what was called the Superdrum in Austin.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
I love
My
Billy
18th
Joel.
birthday. Yeah. Well,
So, and-
you, in my book, you're just right up there with our favorite songwriters. You tell a story, and there's nothing better than someone who can tell a story.
Thank you so much.
So I'm
Means
just
a
so
lot.
happy.
You are
It's
Irish
the
to your
highlight of my
core.
day. Yes.
You are Irish to the core.
I'm a walking flag of Ireland.
So do you go back very often?
Not as much as I would like. It's been almost 3 years now since I was home. I'm going to go back at Christmas, but I'm just keeping really busy here, and
So I'd like to plan like a tour with Pat Byrne in Ireland.
I'm working on
Can
it.
we do that? Yeah.
I'm
let's
hoping
do
in the
that.
next year or two I'll be able to figure that out, because people always ask me.
No,
Right.
back to home. Okay, so
Yeah.
we've got it. We'll go. You take us to the pubs you played
Yeah.
at. I think we should do that.
Right.
We'll get a trip. We'll get a group together.
You'll help me organize it?
Yes, we
Yes,
will.
but there'll just be a bunch of people saying, "Play Brown Eyed Girl, play Brown Eyed Girl."
That's fine. But you know what? I do an annual pub crawl, but it's in Austin.
Okay.
I do it on
fun.
the one is it. This might not be out, but on the 26th of October, I have 3 buses and I fill them with people, and it's a like no one knows where they're going to go or who's playing, but I like curate this pub crawl, and we meet at 11 a.m. and we go to 5 different venues with 5 bands that I put in there. And then
Wow.
we play on the bus, they're party buses, and then it ends at my gig at Don's Depot this time. And
I want to do that.
you
I
should
have to look
come.
at
I'll
the
send you
date.
the
I want to do
information.
that. And I just love your music. I'm super excited about tonight. I'm going to tell you a little secret. I've got a girls' weekend this weekend, and I was gonna do this and get in the car and go. I'm gonna go late because I can't miss this tonight.
Thank you so
I'm
much.
super excited.
All right, so it is just go to Pat Byrne. It's actually patbyrne-music.com, I believe is but I'm sure if you Google Pat Byrne, do all the
Yeah, like, share, texas10.com, our Facebook handle Texas10, Texas10 podcast. Go to YouTube, subscribe to us, watch, and get out there.
Right.
Get on the road, go to the towns. Anytime you're in, find a music venue and go to it and support our musicians.
do the live music. Thanks so much. See you next time.
You, and I love this land. Oh, it takes my breath away. From the Palo Duro to the Gulf Coast plain. From the heart of the hill country to the piney wood shade. I love this land. It takes my breath away.